Hey, greetings, YouTube. Okay, so it is now December 13th, and I had promised a couple people on TikTok. I know it's owned by the Chinese, but you know, I use it for various reasons. I find it entertaining. But, anyways, I had promised them that I would do a detailed video on a really weird paranormal experience that I had. And I had actually two of them. They'll tie together. One of them, the first was on the 8th, December 8th, and then the second one was on December 9th. They both happened at about the same time of night. So here we go. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I do believe in paranormal, and I've had some paranormal experiences in my life, probably more than most. But I've never had something as detailed and just unbelievable as this. And as a matter of background, for whatever it's worth, I'm a retired Los Angeles police officer, former Army paratrooper. I also, after I retired from LAPD, I did 12 years as a federal agent with the Inspector General Office in Washington, D.C., as a supervisory special agent. So, I mean, I have really good observation skills. I know what I'm looking at, and I don't tend to see things that aren't there. So, here's what happened. And I'm trying to figure out which order to tell it in. Well, let me just tell it the way it happened. Because I didn't know the two were connected until the 9th when somebody said something. And it sparked, I was like, whoa, these are connected, probably. So the first one that happened was on the 8th. And it was about 11:30 at night. And I'm standing in my backyard outside the basement door, throwing the stick to my dog, my German Shepherd. And I was also holding the phone like I am right now, standing out there, checking TikToks or whatever. And I have a motion detector light that lights up the side of my house and the side of my neighbor's two-story house that faces mine. And in fact, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this because I don't think I can switch the camera around. Uh, well, I'm going to have to just do it. Let's see what happens here. Hang on a second. So let me show you where I was standing at. Okay, so I'm showing you this. This is a picture on my iPad. I took some pictures to show you. So this is my backyard here. I'm standing like sort of where I'm at now from the view, from your view. And this is my neighbor's house. And my motion detector light lights up that entire house. And it's very bright because you can see that the house is white. So what happened was I'm facing the opposite direction. And I had just thrown the stick to the dog. The light was on because the dog had been running back and forth. And for no reason at all, I didn't have a weird feeling or anything, but I just turned around really quick to look at this house. I don't know what made me do it, but I did it. And when I did, there was something sitting right here. And the only way I could describe it, I mean, it all happened so fast. The minute my eyes hit it, it leaped off of the side of the house and went over my roof. It didn't have, the first thing, you think is owl because it was bigger than like a small dog. But I've seen owls. I don't know how it could perch on the side of the house there. And it also had no wings, no discernible body parts. I could see a little area that would probably be a face if I could see it, but it was like really dark brown, almost black. It looked like a big cat or a small dog with no fur, no feathers, just like meat, like a blob of meat. And the way it flew off of there, it looked like somebody just yanked it with a rope. Now, I put this was the closest thing I could find to it. It didn't look like this, but that's where it was. It was sitting just like that. And the minute if I could have seen it just for a split second more, I would have been able to probably get some detail. But right as my eyes hit it, it literally just launched. And here's the space between my house. This is my house. It launched that direction and disappeared over my roof without one movement in the sky. It was like somebody had a rope over here and just yanked it off. No, nothing. I've never seen anything like it at all. So that's the area, and that's where it happened in the direction of travel. So, it freaked me out a little, but not a lot. I wasn't like really creeped out. I was sort of irritated. I was like, God dang it, man. I didn't get a good enough view of it to know exactly what it was. I wasn't really thinking anything paranormal. I was just thinking, the hell was that? I mean, I'm 57 years old. I've seen a lot of creatures, a lot of animals doing a lot of things, owls, and I've held them in my hands. And, you know, I've had a lot of pets, weird pets. I've just never seen anything like it. But I even thought, I'm going to call my father because he and I talk about these, anytime something weird happens, I'll tell him. But then I instantly thought, I don't have enough information to tell him, so I'm not even going to call him. What am I going to say? I got a glimpse of something stuck to the wall that flew off, and that was it. All right, so now comes the weird part. The next night, I take my dog out for a walk, and I walk him around the whole neighborhood. And it happens to be about 11:15 at night. And I'll show you a picture of where this happened in a second. But as I come up, we have a long, like a stovepipe, long driveway that leads to my house. And remember, it's dark, but I have porch lights and lights on the side of my garage, and so you can see, because the house is white, you can see my house very clearly from where I'm at. And I'm listening to the radio. I got my earphones in. My dog he's a German Shepherd. I got him on the leash, and I always carry a firearm because I carry a firearm. And I'm walking toward my house, and I get about a quarter of the way toward the house, and I'm kind of looking down and just not paying attention to it. I was just kind of listening to this to the radio. When I look up at my front door, and my front door comes, there's 3 steps that come down. You make a right, and then there's cars parked in the driveway. And on that night, there was, I don't know, 4 cars in the driveway at least. And not when I show you the picture. I think there's only 2. But I have a lot of people living in my house. I've got, it's a big house. I've got a family of 4 from South Africa that I'm sponsoring as they try to get their citizenship. They've been here for about 6 months. And my son lives at home still. One of my daughters, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and there's a Vietnamese couple that's, working to get their citizenship. They stay here too, just the old man and lady. And then, of course, my wife and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's United Nations at my house. She's Vietnamese. So your brain works really fast. It's like anything, a car accident, a shooting, you process very quickly. So it's not as slow as I'm going to tell you. But I want to make sure you understand everything that I thought as it was happening. And that's why I got to be so detailed. The person on the steps, when people come out of my house, they turn around, they lock the door. So the person, as I look up, it looks like a guy, a man. He's already turning away from the door to come down the steps. And I see him very, I can't see details, but I see the shape of him perfect. And my thought is, because of who lives there and the action that goes on there, I thought, oh, it's my son Michael. He's getting ready to head out. Instantly, I also thought, man, that don't look like him. The shape of him, because it's been cold here. It's December, and I'm in Virginia, so it's cold. He looked like he was wearing a black coat with black pants. Everything was black, really dark, but he was stocky. And I thought, oh, that's Bob. That's the guy, the man of the African family. They're South Africans. So I'm thinking, oh, it's Bob, and we have kind of a we're like almost brothers the way we've developed our relationship. And then immediately I'm thinking, what the hell's Bob doing coming out of the house at this time of night? So as he comes down the steps, and he can clearly, his face is oriented to be where he's looking right at me, but I can't see the face. I see the black, really black, and he's South African, so he's white, but the person is like a black shadow, which is ultimately what I think this was, like a shadow person, which I've never seen before. So he's coming down the steps. He makes a immediate right, and now I'm going to show you the picture. Hang on a second. and then I'll just narrate as I'm showing you. I got to turn this off and turn the camera on. Okay, so again, this is a picture on my iPad. So I'm up the driveway here. He comes down, and I'm further away than what this picture is. I zoomed up. Comes down the steps that you can't see, makes a right turn, and as he's walking along, where the hell's my pen? I'm watching the reflection. As he's walking along the garage here, heading in this direction, from right to left, he's very, very clearly outlined by this garage, because there's a light here and there's a light here. And there's two lights here, one here and one over here by the door. It's very lit up. And there's another car here and my truck's here. So there's a bunch of cars. But I see this guy and I see the legs moving and the arms swaying. And as he gets to about here, my thought is, because he didn't say anything and he's moving this direction, I thought, oh, Bob is going to hide and try and scare me. And then I'm thinking, not too smart. I'm going to have to tell him that you shouldn't be doing shit like that, especially when I'm walking around and, I'm armed. But at least I thought, okay, so I know it's him. Then he kind of ducks down a little bit, and there's a statue of a dude right here, like a little garden statue. He makes a right turn, goes by this tree, and he's heading down this way. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, who the fuck is this? Why would he be going down there? Now, at the exact same time, I've already made a decision. So that's why I tell you, the brain works really quick. As I'm thinking this, I pull my earphones out. I grab my gun out of my waistband. Because remember, it's like probably 11:20 now. And I pull my dog in, close to me, and I start to take his collar off. I lift it over his head, his chain. And I'm thinking, at the same time, you think a million miles an hour, I'm going to let Mason, my dog, go after him. And then when he chases him over there, he'll be excited to see that it's Bob. And then I'll chew Bob out for trying to scare me. But if it's not Bob, then I'll be able to corner whoever's was peeking in my window or doing whatever they were doing by the door. So, and this is going to be important later when I explain it. My dog's looking straight ahead. I just let him go and said, get him. And Mason, now I see this guy moves really quick into this corner here. This corner is jet black at night. There's no lights there. It's just black. So I see him silhouetted against the wall, and then he disappears into the black. There's a gate right over here that goes into my backyard. And I go, get him. And Mason shoots straight into that shadow as fast as he can, and I run behind him. He's got a big lead on me. Got my gun in my hand. And before I get there, I don't hear Mason bark or anything, but I see him. He's running back and forth between the neighbor's house to the left and this house. Is a big area. And he's sniffing the ground. It's like he can't find anything. And so as I get to about here, I'm thinking, what the fuck? He couldn't have jumped the gate, the fence here. I would have heard it. It's all rattly. He didn't open the gate. I would have seen it, and it's all noisy. And Mason would be barking. So I come over here, and I'm really confused that there's nobody here. So I start to open the gate, and my head's going in so many directions. I'm actually pulling it instead of pushing it, and I get kind of caught up. But I finally open the gate, and I tell Mason, get him, and he hauls ass around the corner out of sight. And I'm thinking, I'm going to hear somebody screaming, Mason barking. I hope I don't hear a gunshot. I hope my dog doesn't get shot. And I'm running around the corner behind him, fully anticipating catching somebody that got into the backyard. And I'm thinking, how the hell did he jump the fence without making a noise? But, like I said, things are going fast and furious. Let me turn the camera back around. Okay, so as I come around the corner in the backyard, your head's spinning, man. I see my neighbor who lives in the house where the sticky dude was the night before. He's on his back deck and he's got a flashlight out in the yard. And I'm thinking, awesome. This guy must have heard a prowler, in the front or something. He must be out there too, looking for the same dude that now I'm sure is a suspect, not a family member. And I go running toward the fence. I go, did you see him? And the guy looks at me and he's like, huh? I said, did you see the dude? And he goes, what dude? I go, the guy that ran through my yard here. And now I'm confused, like, why is he acting like he didn't see it? It's fucking guys out here at 11:30 with a flashlight. He goes, no, I didn't see anybody, man. And I stop and I'm like, I actually stepped in dog shit at that moment. And I'm like, no guy just ran through my backyard? And he goes, no. He goes, Jackson, my dog, his dog, he's got a big black dog there too. He says, my dog would have been barking. And I'm thinking, that's true. And Mason didn't bark either. And I go, wow. I said, I was feeling kind of stupid. And I was confused. I go, I could have swore a guy just ran through my backyard. And he's looking at me like I'm crazy. He goes, no. I was just out here watching the dog take a crap. And I said, okay. So I kind of sheepishly walked back to the front yard, tell my dog to come with me. I'm standing out there trying to figure this shit out. I hear my other dog barking. And that was it. But now I want to put some things together for you. Okay, so I walk in the house with the dog after I clean the dog shit off of my boot in the front yard. And my head's spinning. I'm thinking, what the hell was that? I mean, because it wasn't like I thought I saw somebody. You know, sometimes you see a shadow out of the corner of your eye. It wasn't like that. I saw this dude. I saw his arms moving, his legs crossing I saw this guy. I still see him in my head. But I'm also thinking, I've got a Ring security camera, the doorbell camera. And whenever somebody activates it, my phone ding-a-ling-a-lings. I'm thinking, fuck, it didn't ding-a-ling-a-ling when I was walking the dog, but maybe this thing's on there because you can't be on my porch or in that yard without being captured by the camera. So, I go in and the South African family, they're sitting on the couch watching TV or whatever. They pop up and they're like, well, Mike, what happened? If they were here telling the story, my face was just drained of color. And it wasn't fear. It was not that I'm afraid to admit that I'd be afraid. I just wasn't afraid. I was confused. It was like, they literally he looked like he saw a ghost. I said, funny you should say that. So we talk about it. And it was at that moment during that conversation that Bob's wife says, yeah, because that thing you saw last night, talking about the little sticky dude, maybe it was like the shadow people can shapeshift, or she used the word shapeshift. And then it hit me like, holy fuck, I bet they're related, man. What are the odds? And there's one more little incident too that may or may not be involved, but I'll just tell you. The next morning, I'm jumping around, but the next morning, her teenage son, who's never done anything like this since they've been here for 6 months, he gets up and first thing he says, hey, Mom, I woke up in the middle of the night, man, and it was like somebody was staring at me hard. I just knew somebody was staring at me. Now, he didn't know anything about this incident or the sticky dude. So that's kind of weird. It was unusual. So I'm left thinking, okay, are you fucking nuts? Are you hallucinating shit? I mean, if you're hallucinating, you probably shouldn't be carrying a gun around. Something wrong with you. But I know I'm not hallucinating, but I'm still like, I hate these ambiguous things where you see some shit, you're never able to answer it. So I want to rule out, this is just how I think. I want to rule out any chance of a misidentification or something else. Maybe me seeing things, even though that sucks if you have to admit it, but you got to rule it out, man. And then it dawns on me because I start thinking. Now, I don't want to show you the picture again, but picture the driveway in the house, the front of the house. Whenever I've told Mason, if I'm taking the trash out or something, I'm like, and I see somebody on the porch or whatever, I'm like, get him. He runs right to the front door. If I say, come on, he'll run right to the front door because his whole life, when I say that, he goes to the front door because that's where you get into the house. On this night, on the 9th, when I said, get him, he had all the directions on the compass to go. I didn't point. And he fucking shot directly to the corner where I last saw that shadow dude. And that is validation for me. He'd never done that before. Last night, I was out there with him. And the wife was out there. I go, check this out. I'm just going to say get him because he walked with me up the driveway. And I just turned, I said, oh, it was her. I said, go get her. And he runs to the right and comes up to the steps like he always does. So the only time in his life, he's, a little over a year now, but he's a 120-pound killer. He shoots directly to where this fucking shadow dude is, or was, which to me makes me feel really happy. Now I come to find out the that the neighbor, I guess he has a habit of always bringing a flashlight out at night when he lets his dog go out to take a crap. So him being out there with a flashlight wasn't as unusual as I thought it was. You know, we're not like, we don't talk a lot, so I don't know much about him, but it just so happens that I talk to somebody else that knows him, and that's his routine. What the fuck do you guys think, man? I mean, has anybody seen something like that? I mean, with that much clarity? I, of course, immediately go start looking it up, and it's talking about harbingers of evil and their demons, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? I'm not afraid of, I mean, look, I see orbs, and, I'm not afraid to do that. I'm very interested in paranormal stuff. If you knew half the shit I saw, you'd think I was nuts in terms of unidentified flying objects and shit. But, I mean, I've been doing that my whole life. Always seeing things. That's what my wife always says. Always going to happen to me. Everybody said, man, it always happens to you. But this was a different experience. And I just wanted to share it with you. What do you guys think? Stay safe. Motherfucker, Santa Claus.